Some livestock producers don't need to scan livestock or might prefer to only scan animal tags occasionally. They do, however, need to know how many animals they have of different types, ages and weight ranges, and where those animals are located. Line or mob-based management involves the recording of livestock inventory on the basis of numbers of animals of particular types or specification. If you're unsure if mob-based management is for you, please view the video How to Select the StockMate system that is right for you. This video will cover the following points. You can use the points listed in the description below to navigate to the parts in the video that are most relevant to your requirements. To use the mob-based stock on hand system, simply select Tenant Settings from the Settings menu and check Mob-based under the Miscellaneous tab. The left-hand menu on the website will be updated with an additional tab for mob reports, and the Bulk Session tab is replaced by Mob Session. Note the View Edit Session screen now features two columns showing head numbers, Head and Scanned Head. Unless yours is a new operation, it's likely you will have existing stock on hand when you first use StockMate. You may choose to bring animals into the system by running an import session, if you have the EIDs of individual animals recorded in a spreadsheet. Conversely, you may simply scan animals manually in one or more sessions using the tablet app. If you choose to run an import session, you can follow the process outlined in StockMate Tutorial 3. See the link in the description. We will go to Import Session and Arrival. I'll call this session Opening Stock Tailor. The subtype is Opening Stock. I'm going to set the property to tailor and the paddock to back 1. I'll leave the mob at no change because I've already specified these in the spreadsheet I'm uploading. Download the template and populate it with your opening stock detail. When you have it ready to go, you can upload it here. Select Browse, navigate to your file and open. Then import valid records. An alternative way to get existing animals into StockMate is simply to scan animals manually in one or more sessions using the tablet app and then sync with the cloud. Tutorial 4 provides more detail on this process. Under the mob-based method, animal numbers are tracked on the basis of movements of lines or types of cattle. At the most basic level, lines could be based on mob, cattle type, breed, gender, or other descriptors. Once you've imported your opening stock, StockMate can use this information to automatically generate your mobs or lines of animals to be used in mob-based management. Go to View Edit Sessions and find your opening stock arrival session. Within this session, you can navigate between two screens, the mob-based management screen, showing lines of animals, and the scan data. At the moment, your line screen will show no results. You can use the View Scans button to see and check your scan data. We want to return to the mob-based management screen, so we'll use the View Mob-based button. Select Create Lines from Scans. You'll receive a notification saying lines will be created based on the scans attached to this session. Select OK to continue. You will now see information under Lines. These have been automatically generated from the mob or line information on individual animal scans. If you have existing stock but not individual animal ID data, you can still record the animals by line or cattle type and nominate their location and numbers on your properties. The process used here is the core process associated with maintaining mob-based records in StockMate. Note that mob sessions are used for this process because individual animal data is not being applied at this point. We will create the arrival session to record opening stock. We will go to the mob session menu, create an arrival session and choose the subtype opening stock. The session date entered will typically be the date you started to use StockMate for your herd management. Select the appropriate property and select Create Session. Now we need to enter lines of stock. Remember that lines of stock can be the descriptors you use to define and count a particular grouping of cattle. To add lines of cattle, click the Add Line button and use the Line Editor to input details of each grouping of cattle in particular locations. The From property and paddock and From cattle type, gender and mob fields are disabled for opening stock sessions, however will be enabled for other animal movements. Nominate the To property and To paddock in which the cattle are located. Then select cattle type, gender and mob. Note that some options may be precluded if the selections don't match your setup. Make changes within livestock lists under the Settings menu option if necessary, so that your lines can be populated. Enter the number of head. If you have a weight for the animals, enter this now in either the average or total weight fields. The weight source may be an estimation, or it may be actual weights from truck scales or individual weighs, although these options are unlikely unless animals have been processed recently. Note that if you add an average weight based on an estimation or actual data from the scales, total weight will be calculated, and vice versa. Save and the line will be added. Add lines for each group of cattle being imported. It is unlikely that services will be added at this stage as cattle aren't being moved. If, however, you wish to record an owner or a vendor for the cattle, now would be a suitable time to add these details. Note that any contacts, be they owners, vendors, transport operators, etc., need to be added in StockMate settings before they will populate lists in the service editor. Add any required services by selecting Add Service. Repeat this process for each line of cattle being added to your opening inventory on each property and paddock which is within your management area. The different mob or line number now appear on the dashboard graphs of both the tablet and the web-based console. Even though you may have recorded EIDs for some or all of your stock, the stock balances seen on these screens are all based on the numbers of animals in each mob-based line. The same process could have been implemented using the StockMate app on the Android tablet to record opening stock. On the tablet, the process would have been as follows. Firstly, use the New Mob Session button on the home screen to create a new mob session. Enter the property, session name, session type and subtype, and date as shown. Then select Create Session. Next, we need to add lines of cattle. For each line, enter the line values, including To property and paddock, cattle type, gender, mob, head, weight, and weight source. As on the web interface, the From property and paddock and From cattle type, gender, and mob fields are disabled for opening stock sessions, however will be enabled for other animal movements. When finished, save and close the screen. The end result can be seen in the mob-based session summary. Once the tablet is back within internet range, these sessions can be synced with the website management console. Other types of mob-based arrivals include external property transfers, found animals, inductions, natural increase, private purchases, and sale yard purchases. The following points detail the process for using mob-based management for an animal induction. Rather than create lines from manual counts, we shall use the scan data to define the animal lines. Select Mob Session and Arrival from the main menu to create a new mob session. As these animals were purchased from a sale yard, set the type to Arrival. You may equally set the subtype to Induction or Sale Yard Purchase. Select Create Session. Animal data may be imported through a scan session using the tablet or through uploading a spreadsheet with the necessary data. Select View Scans to see individual animal scan data. In this instance, we've used the Import CSV function to import a list of the animal EID and data. When you're happy with the animal scan data, click on View Mob-Based to return to the Mob-Based Management screen. Select Create Lines from Scans. Select OK to continue. Now we need to add any services to be applied to the animals being inducted. An obvious example is road transport. Under the heading Services, select Add Service and fill in the service details appropriately. You'll need to ensure that you have set up the appropriate contacts in Settings, User Management, Contacts. A very similar process is used to record all movements of stock in your system using the mob-based inventory method. These include movements onto the property, within the property, and to other properties within the organisation, as well as recording deaths and exits. Note that these movements are generally recorded using mob sessions on either the web or on the tablet. To record bulk or mob movements on the website, create a new mob session, for example handling. Once again, enter the new session details and then add line detail. Recording mob-based movements on the app is a very similar process to setting up opening stock using the app. Use the New Mob Session button on the home screen to create a new mob session. Enter the property, session name, session type and subtype, and date as shown. Select Create Session. We can now add lines of cattle. For each line, enter the line values. Note that you can input either the average individual weight or the total weight, and the other field will automatically generate. These can be from estimations, individual weights, sample weights, or weighbridge weights. Then save and close the screen. Repeat this process as many times as necessary. The end result can be seen in the mob-based session summary. When you next sync your tablet with the cloud, this session data will appear on the web. When animals have been exited from one property and can't yet be recorded as having arrived in another location, they'll appear in mob reports as in transit. Then, when they arrive at the destination site, they can be moved from in transit to the arrival paddock. This in transit step becomes important for inventory purposes, particularly when different properties are in different management areas. Consider a move from the property Mirrabone to Taylor of 95 animals. These animals may be loaded on a truck for some time. To record the movement, we create a handling session with the subtype into property exit. Once the move is recorded, the animals are regarded as being in transit until such time as an interproperty arrival session records their arrival at the destination. Animals in transit appear on the dashboard. These animals are also recorded as being in transit in both stock on hand and movement summaries until they are arrived at the destination. To record the arrival of these animals coming from another internal property, navigate to Mob Session and Handling. Enter the session name, date and property. Specify the subtype as interproperty arrival. Select the interproperty exit code of the matching interproperty exit so that the records can be reconciled. Navigate to View Scans and import CSV to upload your scan data. Select Create Lines from Scans to generate your mob-based records. Note that the animals now are included in the dashboard graph data for the property Taylor, and the in-transit detail is no longer displayed in the Mirror data. Our session list in View Edit Sessions now shows the exit from one property and the arrival of these cattle at the next. When animals are scanned, this represents a natural audit point that allows for the full or partial reconciliation of mob-based and scan or electronic ID-based data. On their own, mob-based records can give an accurate picture of the numbers of different types of livestock in different locations, together with average weight information. Each time animals are scanned, the producer knows not just how many animals of different types are located in different paddocks, he or she knows exactly which animals are there. For this reason, we suggest using the following processes whenever the opportunity presents itself to reconcile mob and scan-based records. Let's assume you've just run a scan session in the yards where you weighed and treated stock. The data has been synced from the tablet, and now the animals appear as a scan session in the View Edit Sessions window. No figure appears under Head because we have not yet recorded the process as a mob-based session. If we open the session, we see that there is no mob-based information yet available. But if we click on View Scans, all the individual animal data from the session can be seen, including treatment details and locations for individual animals. Now, if we go back to View Mob-Based Data and click on the Create Lines from Scans button, the data captured via electronic IDs will automatically be converted to mob-based lines. Add services as required to round out the creation of the mob-based session data. Now, when you view the list of sessions, a figure showing mob-based session numbers appears automatically in the View Edit Sessions window. At some stage after recording a mob-based movement, and where the specific animals are known, managers may decide to record the movement as a scan session. This could be desirable, for instance, where an entire mob of animals that had previously been scanned are moved from one paddock to another. In the View Edit Sessions screen, navigate to a mob session you've previously created. Note it is displaying a number for head, but not scanned head. Select View Scans and import CSV, and fill in the required fields as appropriate. When you return to View Edit Sessions, the head and scanned head column numbers should now match. This completes the Mob-Based Management System tutorial. You can click on the links in the description below to navigate to certain sections within the video or related StockMate video tutorials.